Hello and welcome to People and Profit. I'm Stephen Carroll. This week we've taken the show to Davos for the annual gathering of global and business leaders at the World Economic Forum. Coming up in the programme. After seismic political shifts in 2016, we're looking at how the global elite gathered in Davos are assessing their own changed position in the world. And we'll speak to the bosses of two major companies about how President Trump's policies on energy and trade might affect their businesses. The World Economic Forum is an event built on the principles of free trade and globalisation, but voters in the UK and the United States rejected those ideas in 2016. Business leaders here are trying to figure out what that shift means for them. I've been speaking about this to Jean-Pascal Tricoire. He's the chief executive of the French energy management giant Schneider Electric. Jean-Pascal Tricoire, CEO of Schneider Electric, thank you for speaking to us. Donald Trump isn't in Davos, but there are lots of people talking about him here. Your business is energy. Are you concerned about what effect he'll have on your business?
Yeah, well, everything that comes from the US, because it's the first economic power, is important. So it's not about being concerned, but it's about evaluating the consequences. It's far too early. But the US is our largest market. We invest there in technology. We invest there in manufacturing. What we do there is exported, benefit from imports too. So yeah, we are very attentive to what is happening, but we absolutely keep innovating, manufacturing, and developing from the US.
You're someone who knows China very well. You're based in Hong Kong. Talk to me about how you feel the importance of President Xi Jinping being in Davos this year as a symbol. Is this perhaps a chance for China to take a new role in the world with all of the change happening everywhere else?
What the significance of President Xi coming here is to support the fact that China is now part of the world, support globalization, support the COP21, the Agreement of Paris, which is really important. And at the time where there are a lot of transitions in the rest of the world, it's good that China, we are speaking here, the topic is about responsible leadership, that China is assuming its global and responsible leadership is very significant here.
When we look at all of the change that's happened in the last year and we look forward to 2017, are you confident or optimistic about the year ahead?
Look, what we've learned over the past since the GFC is that the world is unstable and unpredictable. So all of us have to adapt. And companies like ours have to be agile, they have to be very reactive, and they have to be very innovative, because innovation is the only sure source of growth and profit that enables more investment into innovation.
Another big election we have coming up this year is the French election. What policies would you like to see coming from those candidates ahead of the vote in April and May?
Well, I would like to see a freer economy. There is a lot of creativity in France. There is a lot of trapped energy. There is a lot of competency available. So unleash the energy of the French economy would be certainly a priority, because I believe that our priority is jobs. And jobs will enable more inclusiveness and more integration of the society, more mutual understanding. So yeah, I would like to see more freedom.
Okay, Jean-Pascal Tricoire, Chief Executive of Schneider Electric, thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you.
Now, the atmosphere at Davos this year is being described as one as anxiety and anticipation. The principles of free market and globalisation, which are treasured by participants of the World Economic Forum, have taken a knock after the political events of 2016. So many people here are now questioning the forum's relevance, as Kate Moody's been finding out.
The snowy slopes are still the same, but the world is a very different place than it was the last time the global elite gathered in the Swiss Alps. I've been talking to one Davos veteran about how the atmosphere and mission here are changing. Now, people have been talking about 2016 as a year of a bit of backlash against the political and business leaders that tend to gather here in Davos. Do you think it's come as something of an awakening for them?
Well, we said that for the time of the 2009 crisis. I think basically we are making progress in civilization. People under the poverty line went from 1.5 billion to 700 million. Overall, violence has been declining for 5 centuries, but sometimes there are hiccups. Little bit move, like when the train sort of stops and shakes you. So I think this is a challenging time. And for me, I think the main challenge is if we wait too much to restart in the good direction, the environment is going to suffer more because there are some irreversible processes, tipping points. So that's something that is more worrying.
So you think 2016, does it count as one of these hiccups for the people who come here?
And then I think 2017 would be even probably a bigger hiccup.
Now, you've been coming to Davos for nearly a decade. What is it about the gathering at the World Economic Forum that keeps you coming back?
Well, the first time I even hesitated to come. I said, what should I do there? Then someone told me, you run a humanitarian project, that's a good place to come, which happened to be sort of true. But also I discovered that there was an incredible amount of scientists, young entrepreneurs, social workers, people who really try genuinely to make a better world. And to network with those people and meet them all in one place, it's really a very inspiring experience.
Do you think that Davos is still relevant on the world stage?
Well, no, I don't think about the globe. I think there's enough people with skills, with capacity, and if we can nudge a little bit in the right direction, you achieve something. If you do care, then environmentalists can work with policymakers, can work with financial people. They have a common concept, which is consideration for others. There's no other concept that can bring them together to do something useful and constructive.
So a lot of good intentions, a lot of questions, and some answers here at this year's World Economic Forum.
Before the Brexit referendum last June, there were warnings of dire consequences for the British economy of leaving the EU. For now, the effects appear to be under control, but there's a lot of uncertainty here in Davos about what happens next. Paul Polman is the chief executive of the consumer goods group Unilever. They sell everything from detergents to soups. He's been telling me about his concerns. Paul Polman, CEO of Unilever, thank you for speaking to us. I'd like to ask you first about Brexit. We've been hearing from Theresa May about how her government is laying out more of their plans. Your company was very much in the Remain camp in the run-up to the referendum. Are you surprised by any of the announcements we've had from the British government since then about how they plan to manage Brexit?
Well, for example, there is uncertainty about who can stay in the UK or who cannot stay in the UK. We have 2 of our major research centres there, and we need to be sure that we protect them. They're tremendous assets also for the UK economy. We import a lot of products, raw materials. Even if you produce your finished products in the UK, you still have to import a lot of things. We see a weak pound, and we have to deal with that. The banks that we use, we have to really see what will happen in the UK in terms of the banking regime and what transactions can be done in London or what should be done somewhere else. So there are many different aspects. Our corporate governance, we're an Anglo-Dutch company, so we have to be sure that there is more convergence instead of divergence, otherwise it's difficult to keep our current structure. So we're looking at many of these options to be sure that we keep a healthy business going, which fortunately is the case for now, but also support the UK economy at the same time as we're trying to obviously protect the European economy.
There was an issue earlier, or last year I should say, about price rises in UK supermarkets involving your products. Do you still feel price rises are coming soon for consumers in the UK?
Well, I don't know if there was an issue. We haven't moved our prices for a long period of time, and then when you see, in fact, in many of our products prices have moved down, and then when you see a significant decrease in the value of the pound and you deal with import costs, etc., you have to reflect some of that in pricing. We've done that. And we see retailers doing that in many other areas, often in their own products as well. So you see a certain level of inflation coming into the UK, and that should not surprise anybody with the level of the pound being weak, to say the least.
What sort of commitments are you hoping to have from the British government as regards the future of your business? Have you spoken to Theresa May about that?
We've spoken to the UK government, and we continue to do that actively, and they're reaching out to the private sector, and rightfully so, because they're obviously very concerned that any change should be in the benefit of a stronger UK, not a weaker UK. And likewise, on the European side, we need to make sure that the European Union is equally strong as the UK parts. We're in 190 countries in the world, and most of these countries are not in the EU, so we will find a way to work on that, but we have to be sure that we limit the negative consequences of this.
Things are changing too in the United States with Donald Trump as president. How do you feel that'll affect your business, or at all?
Well, again, I think the people of the United States have made their choices clear, and fortunately, most people now respect that, and we need to drive again unity to move the agenda forward, and we now need to see what this administration is going to do. We have a big business in the US, a healthy business in the US. We'd certainly like to keep it that way, and we will be working again on the best interest for the US long term there, and that's where we're focused on.
You've been very forward in your support of sustainability for your company, recent announcements as well in that centre. Are you concerned that perhaps there could be a political shift away from those environmental policies with Donald Trump in the White House?
Well, I think the Sustainable Development Goals, which have been signed by 193 countries, all different governments all over the world, all different directions politically, etc. The 193 countries that signed it have a very simple objective to irreversibly eradicate poverty, and doing that in a more sustainable and equitable way. I think that is at the roots of these elections you've seen recently. So there should even be more of an interest of the new government to work some of these sustainable development goals and put them into action. We're talking about creating employment. We're talking about equal rights for women. We're talking about ensuring that there's no plastic in our oceans. And these are issues that I think affect everybody. And the new administration undoubtedly will also like to work together with the private sector to find solutions for those.
Okay, Paul Polman, Chief Executive of Unilever, thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
That's all from us for now. If you'd like to see more of our coverage from Davos, you'll find it on our website, on our Facebook page, France 24 Business, and you can tweet me with any comments at NewsStephen. Until next time, thanks for watching.